Hunt with passion. Never stop casting. Chase the dream. Welcome to Season 7 of Musky Mastery Outdoors. Brought to you by Bucher Outdoors, #1 in big game fish products. Recon Boats, made by craftsmen, built for fishermen. And by Great Lakes Potato Chips. Snack happy. Every chip, every bag.
Look at that tobacco cabbage. Boy, that just screams early season muskies to me. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to another Musky Quick Tips segment here on the Musky Mastery YouTube channel. Well guys, if you have spent any time in the North Woods this season, you know how nasty, cold, crummy, north wind, sleet, hail, rain, you know how bad it's been. In fact, it's actually a rarity to take off the top of my rain suit here, but I'm glad I can because it actually feels good to let it air out and breathe. But the point being, it's been really cold. You know, water temps on a lot of our lakes are still in the 60s. In fact, all the rain we had today dumped the water temps right back into the 60s on the surface, and that's fine. But what we need to do in these circumstances, in a colder than usual start to our summer, is seek out areas of warmth. And you saw the cabbage weeds there in the opening segment, the opening part of this quick tips video. That dark brown tobacco cabbage. That is the kind of stuff that I am looking for when it comes to early season muskies, because it's absorbing the sun's rays and it's also thick. And right now I'm just finding muskies up in really thick cover. And one of the best lures that I utilize, and if you follow me on social media, you've seen I got a lot of muskies lately that have been taken on the Slopmaster. And this one I'm throwing here today is a mag tinsel Slopmaster in Goldilocks. And you can see here that I put the trailer hook on there. You can buy that right on the JBO website. There's a nice trailer hook here. And in this video, because I'm catching a lot of muskies in super tight cover on Slopmasters, I just want to go over some basic, I guess just best practices when you're spinnerbait fishing. Now, you know, let's face it guys, throwing a big spinnerbait into heavy weed cover is not groundbreaking. I mean, we've all been doing this since we were kids. But there are some things that I notice while guiding that I point out to my customers that these pointers might just help you fish your spinnerbaits a little bit better this season. So here's the first thing I want to point out. As you are, you know, scanning the surface of a lake, okay, as you're scanning the surface here and you're looking at the structure you're fishing, okay, you got to have good polarized glasses to do that. I want you to be looking for channels, pockets, and just little openings in the cover. Yes, the Slopmaster can go through pretty much everything, right? But still, like any tool, it has its limitations. So as I look here, I'm looking for, you know, a pocket. I'm looking for somewhere, first of all, it's an ambush point for muskies. And second of all, it just makes my life easier. I know that I'm not gonna get that particular cast all gummed up and mangled with weeds, okay? So again, looking for pockets and channels, first tip. Second thing I want you to think about is how you're varying your rod height, okay? You know, oftentimes, and I've said this on different videos, when you're throwing any type of lure that sinks into heavy cover, usually you want to start with your rod tip up. But with a Slopmaster, you actually don't need to do that. And I want to point that with most Slopmasters, you actually don't. And that's really why I'm making this video, is to point out, you know, the angle of your rod when you're throwing a Slopmaster does not need to be high. The reason for that are two things. One, this lure has a hydroplaning head on it. You can kind of see how it's all flat there. It really gives this lure a lot of lift, okay? Secondly, the blades on all of these Slopmasters, they come with big Colorados for the most part, and they really give that lure just a ton of lift and vibration. So point being, when you throw this thing into the thickest of cover, I actually am a huge fan of keeping the rod down. Okay, let me show you here what I mean by that. So I'm gonna throw this Slopmaster into some pretty nasty stuff here, and instead of keeping my rod tip up, I actually am keeping my rod down and I'm gunning the reel, okay? I'm gunning the reel to get the Slopmaster to run over the top of the weeds, okay? So instead of lifting my rod tip high, which, you know, what's that gonna do? What that's gonna do when you lift your rod tip up a lot of times, when you're fishing a bait that has so much lift on it, it's gonna blow your bait out of the water. Now, is that gonna foul the whole cast? I don't know, I just don't like to do it. I like to keep my lure in the water during the cast, obviously. And again, it's just something that I think is counterintuitive for a lot of folks. When they throw a big spinnerbait into the weeds with a lot of lift on it, their first inclination is just to lift that rod up. And again, with a lot of muskie anglers that I have in the boat that are learning the sport, they are really making that mistake of keeping the rod up, and that Slopmaster breaks the surface right away. So that's really the main thing. I'm looking for channels and pockets, and because of the lift, it allows me to keep the rod tip down. And the big thing again that I mentioned, but I'm going to mention it again, is to get over the tops of cover. I'm going to use my reel handle and my cranking speed with this lure to effectively hop it over things and to burst through it. A lot of times if I'm seeing the Slopmaster approach a really thick piece of structure, again, instead of ripping it with the rod, so take a look at this, a lot of anglers will do this, okay? A lot of anglers are gonna go like this, and they're gonna rip it through. Of course, if you get all hung up with weeds, sure, you're gonna do that. But what I'm telling you, you might wanna try doing, along with keeping your rod tip low, is just gun the reel to get that bait, get that big spinnerbait through the cover. So when I see it coming up to, you know, a thick piece of cover, I'm doing this, and when I'm doing that, I'm keeping my rod low because I'm almost bursting that little spinnerbait right out of the water. So those are my quick tips here, guys, on fishing Slopmasters in thick cover. You know, again, just an amazing lure. There's a lot of different styles on the market, but the Slopmaster is, of course, my favorite. So I really hope you've enjoyed this quick tips segment, and as always, thanks for watching.